First of all, how are you doing and how's your training going ahead of the rematch?
Great. Out in sunny Las Vegas. It's a hell of a different vibe to training in England. I love it out here in Vegas. The gyms are amazing. The sparring is great. Um, Cutting weight is a lot easier because it's sweltering hot in these gyms. Um, I enjoy the vibe, man. It's a special place, and now we have a new team, a new coach in BoMac, Coach BoMac, who is Terence Crawford's main man, and they had an amazing victory over the weekend. So the momentum is there. We're here, we're training every day. Everything is him and his team. They're doing a great job so far. So I'm excited to move forward.
That was actually my next question. If you don't mind, we saw some quotes from, I suppose, your old trainer, Roy Jones Jr., saying that he wasn't training you ahead of the rematch. Could you just explain the decision around that? And also, you just mentioned your new coach there. How will this training be different ahead of this rematch?
Yeah, Roy, he had other obligations. He said he's got other fighters that he couldn't get away from. So it is what it is. I understand it. Roy's a great coach, but yeah, we move on, we move forward. Um, I think Coach Bomac's training style is very different. Um, with Roy, it was just him. With Bomac, there's like a kind of a whole team around him, and we've worked together now for about a week, and it's going great. So yeah, I'm excited.
I know you worked with Roy for, I think it was 4 fights. So working with a new trainer just in general, does it give that excitement a little bit in terms of doing things a bit differently? And like you said, there's a few just different ways of training ahead of a fight, I suppose.
Yeah, listen, doesn't matter how long you've been in the game. I've been fighting since I was 14. Um, there's always new things to learn. There's always new perspectives to see things from. There's always new tactics to implement. Um, and for me, it's just about finding guys who are proven and who I can trust, and who I can believe in. Obviously, Roy had all the credentials. I believed in everything he told me. BoMac is the same. He's trained one of the best fighters on the planet right now. So I know what he's telling me is legit. I know it works because I saw it on the weekend. Um, so yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see, what he can do with me.
Yeah, it must feel very exciting having watched that Terence Crawford fight and how convincingly he won to know that's your trainer now going into this rematch.
For sure, extremely encouraging. Obviously I said to him, I wanted to work with him, and you know, if Terence had lost, then it would be like, oh man, well, that would have been a big downer, But to come off that huge win, the way he won as well, the morale, the momentum, it's all there, and yeah, I'm excited.
And just ahead of this rematch, Chris, I mean, maybe it's a silly question, so apologies, but do you feel any pressure going into this rematch? Does Chris Eubank Jr. feel pressure after that first fight?
The pressure is always on me, that's for sure. Each and every fight, the pressure is it's crushing. But this is it's a different type of pressure. I've never actually experienced this type of pressure before. Going into a rematch with a man who has a win over me. It's a new experience. It's a new pressure. How am I gonna how am I gonna react to it? How am I gonna deal with it? Um, that's what the fans are gonna get to see.
And what have you taken from that first fight in terms of what you'll look to apply in this rematch, and how do you think you can stop him?
You've got to learn. You've got to learn from each and every mistake, each and every experience. I never thought that I would be on the receiving end of a stoppage. Um, so now that that's happened, you know, you you have to adapt. You have to learn. You have to make sure that you do everything in your power to stop that from ever happening again. You know, before I didn't think it would happen, so maybe I was, a little bit relaxed or a little bit complacent in certain areas. Now I know that it can happen. That complacency will never be there again.
And I don't know if you saw, but Liam mentioned something a few weeks ago that basically implying that whoever loses could retire. He said if he loses his whenever his next loss comes, he's going to retire. That's his last fight. And he basically implied if he beats you again, that you might not have the drive to keep going. Do you see the fight similarly in terms of whoever loses, that could be the end of their boxing career?
Liam, can say what he's going to say for himself, but for me, um, retirement is just not on the cards. There's too many big fights out there, and I feel too good. Fighters, you know when when you don't have any more left to give. You know when you're on the decline. Um, just because just because I had this slip up loss, it doesn't mean that I'm not a capable fighter anymore. People, I've seen the trolls. Oh, he's shot. He doesn't have it anymore. He's too old. Um, I love to see that. I love to see that because that gives me that extra boost and the extra determination to go out there and prove them wrong. But I have to do that. I have to prove these guys wrong. Because right now that's the argument. Yeah, well maybe he doesn't have it anymore. He's made too much money. He's getting on now. He doesn't have the hunger anymore, and it's just not the case. I'm hungry. I'm as hungry as I've ever been. Um, so yeah, you guys are going to see an awesome performance in 4 or 5 weeks time.
And I think it's in a month's time, isn't it? Crazy how quickly it's coming up. But I wonder if you win, what is that feeling like going to be in the ring, do you think? Is it a feeling of, like you said, kind of, I don't know, kind of truth in terms of just putting the trolls back in their place? Or is it kind of, yeah, well, what do you think that feeling would be? Do you think, or is it just pure revenge to avenge that first fight?
Yeah, it's revenge. It's not even going to be relief because I know I'm a better fighter. I know that, so it's like, I think it was relief for him when he won that fight. They were so surprised, jumping up and down, screaming, hugging each other. They didn't expect that to happen. If I had done that to him, there wouldn't have been any of that. I probably wouldn't have even smiled. I would have just, I got out the done my interviews, go out the ring, and let's go with the next one. Um, this is a huge fight for me because I have it all to prove. I can't let um, I can't let Liam have 2 wins over me because then there's no argument. For right now, there's an argument. Oh well, he got lucky, or it was a freak accident, and Chris is still the better man. There's that argument. If he beats me twice, there's no argument. He's just a better fighter than me. I can't live with that. I can't accept that. So that's the new pressure that's on me for this fight, and I think I'm going to rise to the occasion.
If you win, do you go another one to see who gets I guess the majority, 2 against 1, or what would your feeling be, do you think?
I haven't thought that far ahead. If the fans want to see it, then anything's possible. But my focus is not what happens afterwards. It's not who I fight afterwards. It's not how I feel afterwards. It's just I have to win this fight.
And I just wanted to finish off on you talking about the vibes in Vegas and slightly different to England. I saw you went to see Manchester United in Vegas for their match against Dortmund. How was that? And saw you trying to few the players as well.
Yeah, it's beautiful to have um, you know the great British sport of football on your doorstep in Las Vegas. The new Raiders Stadium. It's an awesome stadium, and I live very close to it. So to be able to just go there and see Man U play was it was surreal. It's like wow, this is really happening. Um, Great day out. The boys are amazing. I've been following them for a long time, and yeah, it's kind of fitting. I will be back in Manchester on September 2nd. A few of them said they want to come, so yeah, we're gonna have some fun.
I guess it's linked to your fight in a way, but do you reckon they'll do better than Liverpool this season?
I believe so. Yes, I think Manchester are going to do the absolute business.
And just finally, Chris, I'll leave the last word with you on the fight. How do you see it going? Final prediction, go on.
Um, Final prediction is I go out there and I make a statement. I let the boxing world know, and I let Liam Smith know that the first fight was a freak accident, a fluke, and that I am the better boxer. I'm the better man in that ring.